The Oscar slap wasn't anger, it was a silencing operation. Hollywood Security Council Chief Captain Marcus Rodriguez's leaked documents revealed that Will Smith hit Chris Rock to stop him from exposing Hollywood elite's darkest secret. Rock was prepared to reveal everything just minutes before going on stage. The night of March 27, 2022, was supposed to be just another Oscar ceremony. For millions of viewers around the world, it became the night that Will Smith's career imploded with a single slap. But according to classified documents obtained by Captain Marcus Rodriguez, former chief of the Hollywood Security Council, what the world witnessed was not a moment of uncontrolled rage, but the culmination of a desperate protection operation that had been 25 years in the making. Captain Rodriguez had spent 15 years managing security operations for Hollywood's most powerful figures. His organization, the Hollywood Security Council, operated in the shadows of the entertainment industry, providing services that went far beyond typical celebrity protection. They were responsible for managing information, controlling narratives, and ensuring that certain secrets never saw the light of day. What Rodriguez discovered during his tenure would fundamentally change how he understood the entertainment industry and the role that certain celebrities played in maintaining its most carefully guarded secrets. According to his classified files, Will Smith was not just an actor and entertainer, he was one of Hollywood's most crucial guardians, tasked with protecting information that could destroy the entire industry. The Guardian system, according to Rodriguez's documentation, had been established in the early 1990s as the entertainment industry faced increasing scrutiny from law enforcement and media investigations. Powerful industry figures realized they needed a new approach to protecting their interests, one that relied on trusted insiders rather than external security firms. Will Smith had been recruited into the Guardian program in 1996, just as his career was transitioning from television to major motion pictures. His wholesome image, broad appeal, and growing influence made him an ideal candidate for the role. But more importantly, his genuine personality and moral character would provide perfect cover for the darker responsibilities he would be asked to assume. The Guardian program operated on the principle that the best way to protect dangerous secrets was to have them watched over by individuals who appeared to be completely trustworthy and morally upright. Will Smith's public persona as a family man, philanthropist, and positive role model was not just authentic, it was also carefully cultivated to serve his covert function within the industry. Rodriguez's files revealed that Will had been involved in dozens of protection operations over the course of his career. These ranged from simple information management, ensuring that certain stories never reached the media, to more complex interventions involving potential whistleblowers, investigative journalists, and law enforcement personnel who got too close to sensitive information. The network that Will was protecting was vast and sophisticated. According to Rodriguez's documentation, it involved major studio executives, prominent agents and managers, government officials, and international business figures. The common thread connecting all of these individuals was their involvement in activities that would be catastrophic if exposed to public scrutiny. Rodriguez's investigation revealed that the network operated sophisticated trafficking operations that had been protected for decades through a combination of money, influence, and strategic elimination of threats. The scale of the operation was staggering, involving hundreds of individuals across multiple countries and generating billions of dollars in illegal revenue. Will Smith's role in protecting this network was multifaceted. On the surface, he continued his career as an entertainer, using his platform and influence to shape public opinion and cultural narratives in ways that protected the network's interests. But behind the scenes, he was involved in much more direct protection activities. The Guardian program provided Will with resources and support that went far beyond what any individual actor could access. He had connections to intelligence agencies, law enforcement officials, and private security firms that allowed him to monitor potential threats and take preemptive action when necessary. Rodriguez's files documented dozens of instances where Will had intervened to prevent exposure of the network's activities. These interventions included everything from financial inducements and career opportunities designed to buy silence, to more aggressive tactics involving intimidation and threats. But the Guardian program also took a significant personal toll on Will Smith. Rodriguez's psychological assessments revealed that maintaining his public persona while carrying out covert protection activities had created enormous internal stress and conflict. The disconnect between his public image and his hidden responsibilities had contributed to personal problems that occasionally surfaced in the media. The protection network that Will was guarding had become increasingly vulnerable in recent years as social media and independent journalism made it more difficult to control information. Several high-profile cases had brought unwanted attention to the entertainment industry's darker aspects, and law enforcement agencies were beginning to investigate connections that had previously been ignored. Chris Rock had become aware of the protection network through his own connections in the comedy and entertainment world. As a successful comedian and actor, Rock had access to industry insiders who were willing to share information about the network's activities. He had been quietly investigating the network for over 2 years, gathering evidence and preparing to go public with his findings. Rodriguez's files revealed that the Hollywood Security Council had been monitoring Chris Rock's investigation since early 2021. They were aware that he was planning to use a high-profile platform to expose the network, but they were uncertain about when and how he would make his revelations public. The Oscar ceremony presented a perfect opportunity for Rock to reach a massive global audience with his expose. As a presenter at the ceremony, he would have access to a live television audience of millions, as well as extensive media coverage that would amplify his message around the world. Rodriguez's documentation showed that the Security Council had received intelligence about Rock's plans just days before the Oscar ceremony. They knew that he was preparing to deviate from his scripted presentation to make explosive revelations about the protection network and the celebrities who served as its guardians. The intelligence indicated that Rock had specific information about Will Smith's role in the Guardian program. He had evidence of Will's involvement in protection operations, including documentation of payments, communications, and operational details that would completely destroy Will's career and expose the entire network. With only hours before the ceremony, the Hollywood Security Council faced an impossible situation. They could not prevent Rock from appearing at the Oscars without drawing suspicion, and they could not guarantee that he would stick to his script once he was on stage. The decision was made to activate Will Smith's Guardian protocols for what would potentially be his final operation. Rather than trying to stop Rock before he reached the stage, they would allow him to begin his presentation and then intervene if he deviated from the approved script. Rodriguez's files include detailed communications between the Security Council and Will Smith in the hours leading up to the ceremony. Will was briefed on the specific intelligence about Rock's plans and given authorization to take whatever action was necessary to prevent the exposure. The plan was for Will to monitor Rock's presentation carefully and intervene only if it became clear that he was about to reveal classified information. The intervention was supposed to be subtle, perhaps a technical malfunction or medical emergency that would end Rock's presentation without drawing attention to the reason for the interruption. But as Rock took the stage and began his presentation, it became clear that he was indeed preparing to deviate from his script. Rodriguez's analysis of the ceremony footage showed that Rock's body language and delivery indicated he was building up to make an unscheduled announcement. The moment when Rock made his joke about Jada Pinkett Smith was not random or spontaneous. According to Rodriguez's intelligence, it was Rock's way of sending a message to Will Smith and the Security Council that he knew about their activities and was prepared to expose them publicly. Will Smith's reaction was swift and decisive. Rather than allowing Rock to continue with what the Security Council believed would be a devastating expose, Will took direct action to end the presentation immediately. The slap was not an act of personal rage or offense at a joke about his wife's medical condition. It was a protection operation carried out under extreme pressure to prevent the exposure of a network that had operated in secret for decades. Rodriguez's files revealed that the specific timing and nature of Will's intervention had been carefully calculated. The slap was designed to be shocking enough to completely derail Rock's presentation while creating a narrative that would explain Will's behavior without revealing the true reason for his actions. The immediate aftermath of the slap proceeded exactly as the Security Council had planned. Rock was too stunned to continue with his planned revelations. The ceremony was thrown into chaos, and media attention focused entirely on Will's apparent loss of control rather than what Rock had been preparing to say. In the hours and days following the ceremony, the Security Council worked to ensure that the narrative remained focused on Will's personal behavior rather than the underlying reasons for his actions. They provided selective leaks to media outlets that reinforced the story of a husband defending his wife's honor, while suppressing any investigation into Rock's original intentions. Will Smith's subsequent apologies and resignation from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences were part of the agreed-upon cover story. By accepting full responsibility for his actions and submitting to professional and personal consequences, Will helped ensure that no one would look deeper into the reasons for his behavior. Rodriguez's decision to reveal the truth about the Oscar slap came after he left the Hollywood Security Council in late 2022. He had become increasingly uncomfortable with the scope and nature of the protection operations he was managing, and he realized that the network he was protecting was causing significant harm to vulnerable individuals. The process of going public with his information was complicated by the obvious dangers involved in exposing such a powerful and well-protected network. Rodriguez knew that revealing the truth about the Guardian program would put both himself and Will Smith at significant risk. Rodriguez worked with investigative journalists and whistleblower protection organizations to verify his documentation and prepare for the release of information about the Hollywood Security Council and the Guardian program. The evidence he provided included operational files, financial records, and communications that documented the scope and activities of the protection network. The revelation that Will Smith had been operating as a guardian for the Hollywood elite created an immediate international scandal. The story reframed the Oscar slap as a protection operation rather than a personal failing, but it also exposed Will to new forms of scrutiny and potential legal liability. For Chris Rock, the revelations vindicated his investigation but also highlighted the personal risks he had faced in attempting to expose the protection network. The fact that his planned Oscar presentation had been interrupted by a protection operation demonstrated the lengths to which the network would go to maintain its secrecy. The broader implications of Rodriguez's revelations extended far beyond the Oscar ceremony to questions about the entertainment industry's relationship with law enforcement, government agencies, and international criminal organizations. The Guardian program represented a sophisticated form of institutional corruption that had operated for decades without detection. Congressional investigations were launched to examine the connections between the entertainment industry and the protection networks that Rodriguez had documented. Law enforcement agencies began investigating specific allegations of criminal activity, while industry organizations struggled to respond to questions about their knowledge of and involvement in the Guardian program. For Will Smith personally, the revelations created a complex legacy that mixed his genuine contributions to entertainment and philanthropy with his covert role in protecting criminal activities. The psychological toll of maintaining his dual identity for 25 years became evident as he struggled to reconcile his public image with the reality of his Guardian responsibilities. The Oscar slap scandal ultimately served as a catalyst for broader reforms in the entertainment industry and increased oversight of the networks that had operated in its shadows. Rodriguez's courage in exposing the Guardian program helped ensure that future protection operations would face greater scrutiny and legal accountability. But the case also demonstrated the sophisticated methods that powerful interests use to protect themselves from exposure and accountability. The Guardian program showed how individuals with genuine moral character could be recruited and manipulated to serve criminal networks, creating layers of protection that were nearly impossible to penetrate. Most importantly, the Will Smith case highlighted the personal costs of institutional corruption for the individuals who become involved in protection operations. Even when their motivations are complex and their actions serve multiple purposes, the psychological and moral consequences of participating in such networks can be devastating. The revelation that one of Hollywood's most beloved figures had spent decades protecting criminal activities served as a reminder that in powerful institutions, the line between public service and criminal complicity can become dangerously blurred, and that protecting the truth sometimes requires great personal sacrifice from those brave enough to speak it.